All right. Thank you. See you, Pippa.
And we're back, and we're going to talk about resilience. How do you face rejection? With us today, we have Vanessa, who's currently the SVP or Chief Digital Officer at Sensiact. She leads the IT backbone, and her mission is to bring the company even further into the digital age. And Vanessa is also the member of different boards, Fidesmo, PVC CDO, Gartner EMEA, and America's Data and CDO. She's a mother of 3 girls, and she is passionate about gender diversity topics. So welcome, Vanessa.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm really excited to be here. I'm Vanessa Eriksson, and I'm going to share with you how to be resilient in the face of rejection. Just sorry. So let's just try sharing it again. Oh, sorry. There we go. Do you see my screen now? I'll take that as a yes. So my top 3 strategies for staying resilient when faced with rejection. And, sorry, something, yes, there we go. I actually never thought about it before I got asked to speak about resilience in the face of rejection. Because I think, it's something that each and every one of us go through. Rejection happens to everybody. And you don't really think very much about it. It's just another day. So I did a little investigation into the area, and I discovered that there are 4 types of rejection. The being ignored and excluded. The harshest, really, of them all. To be invited and completely then ignored. The flat out no, that is really more abrupt, final, uncaring. That's one that we struggle with. Because as human beings, we like closure. So the flat out no hits us really hard. And then you have, being let down nicely. We regret to inform you. Which, in a way, is actually quite nice because it gives you the closure that you need. It still hurts, though. And then the last one, what about? Did you think about doing this, for example? And that is one that we should appreciate the most. We should consider at least what is being given to us, shared with us, because somebody has actually taken time to think about our capabilities. But rejection, it hurts. It stings, and we all feel it. So I'm here today, with my heart on my sleeve, and I'm going to share with you, as a woman, as a leader, and as a data practitioner, times when when I have felt the sting of rejection. I remember a long time ago, I was still very much in my teens. I had braces on, wasn't the prettiest kid in the block, and I was told so, which I accepted. But I had dreams. And then I had this person who was very beautiful. I looked up to her. And I actually told her once in confidence, that my dream was to be a flight attendant. As a kid, when you flew, you always saw the air hostesses, the flight attendants with high heels at the airport, all made up. And they always looked so pretty. And that is what I wanted. I wanted for myself. And this beautiful lady, she looked at me and she let it go gently on me. And she said, it's really nice to have big dreams, to reach for the stars, because then you'll get somewhere. And ouch, that hurt. Because in that moment, I realized, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to make it. She doesn't believe in me. She doesn't think I'm going to do that. I'm not pretty enough. And it's a complete different story. And I'll be happy to tell you all about it another day. Because I actually went on to be a flight attendant. And I realized very quickly that, okay, the glamour, it's all not glamour. It's all not glamorous. But been there, done that. As a data practitioner, I've been in the data field for as long as I can remember. And there was a time when data governance was really new out everywhere. And I remember walking into a room full of business analysts who were very upset with me because I was running this, I was implementing this program called data governance in the organization. And one of them, it was a room full of business analysts, and every one of them men. And one of them took the lead in standing up and telling me to go away. We don't need you. We were doing quite well without you. And that was embarrassing, the least to say. Standing there trying to find my words, wanting to scream, to figure out how to win this entire group over. I did that. As a leader, you are often in a position where there are people that reach out to you for help. And I've been on the giving end, helping this one person in particular, really fighting for her, believing in her, fighting for her. So imagine my disappointment when I also created a role for her in my organization. Imagine my disappointment when I found out that she didn't want it and she left me for another group internally. I was crushed. And I had to, I wondered, was I used? I felt used. And I thought, am I ever going to help somebody else again? And my answer was yes. Because if I can help somebody, I'm going to do it again. As a woman, I was so shocked when I heard about my friends, going out for a drink that they had been out on social media. I wasn't even invited. And that hurt. I wondered why, if this is a group and we're close friends, why didn't I fit in? They're still my friends. As a leader, I am told I'm a bit on the aggressive side. I drive my agenda. And there was a time when I was labeled as the lady with the whip. It was quite amusing, really, at that time. I used it in my advantage to drive my agenda in the organization. But I think about it today. Have we ever heard the expression, the man with the whip, and, running around in the organization and getting his work done? No, that's power for you. He's a very powerful man. He accepts challenges. So why wasn't it the same about me? And again, as a data practitioner, there are some areas, there are some people who don't always, when you talk about having a data culture or a data mindset, not everybody gets it. Not everybody understands what are you talking about. And having worked with data all my career, I understand that. But it annoys me to no extent when my capability is undermined, when I'm patronized. And as a woman, again, working always with technology and data, quite often I have been the alone woman at the table. I devised techniques over the years in how to cope. But it's always a struggle to come in and be the only woman trying to get in with the boys' club, trying to make my space, trying to be accepted. And there's lots more. So how do I deal with this? For that, I need to take you back a little. So who am I? I'm Vanessa Eriksson. I used to be Vanessa Vaz. I was born and raised in Bombay, in India. And I'm the third child of my parents. I've got two older siblings, and then I have a younger brother. As a kid, I was obstinate. I challenged, I fought back for everything that I wanted. And I can still hear my mom say, that I could never take no for an answer. And why couldn't I be like my sister, who once, as soon as she got no for an answer, she never asked again. And bless my sister, because she has learned, she's a quiet person, unlike me. And over the years, she has learned to fight her cause. And I'm very proud of her today. But I grew up in a society where, women have a place. I remember my mom, my younger brother and I shared a bedroom. And my side of the bed was always neatly made, while his was, as he woke up, my brother, he wouldn't make it. And for me, it destroyed the room, the setting. So I would jump on him and start to knock him to make his bed. And on one such instance, he yelled out to my mom for help, and she came. And her answer, because I said I wanted him to make his bed, and she said, "Do you know you're going to get married and go to somebody else's house and make their bed so you can start to learn how to make a bed?" And of course, growing up in an environment like that, I fought, and I fought. So while I think it's a culture, it was nice to be this person with this spirit, this fighting spirit, fight for what's right, fight that it had to be equal, even with my brother and me. But then I got married, a married pair, and I moved to Sweden. And we are parents to our 3 girls. And I feel an obligation. I have an obligation to my daughters, to girls out there, to women. I have an obligation to make a difference. And I take it quite seriously. So that's my face when things don't go my way. What is resilience? I think, a long time ago, when I got no for an answer, it would drive me mad. I'd look, with all the anger inside of me, I wouldn't say it out loud, but I'd be thinking, watch me. I'll be back. Today, I see that we need to find a better way. But at the same time, I have gotten older, and I hope a little wiser too. So resilience is to feel good when you shouldn't be feeling good. It's the ability to, overcome difficulties, adversities, bounce back, and grow alongside life challenges. Some of us are able to jump back in the game, and not everybody is like that. I also remember, I think it was the IT crash in 2000, where along a lot of other people at Ericsson, I lost my job too. And I remember, because there were rumors that people were going to, be laid off. So when my manager started to tell me that he was very sorry that he had to let me go, I remember having this out-of-body experience. I remember like an observer standing there and telling myself, "You got this. It's okay. Don't cry. You'll be fine." And I guess that is also, what is resilience? How do you protect yourself? How do you get over that brief period? Because the light will come back. So I've, researched a bit as well on resilience. And it says really that you can adopt simple habits. And the reason I started to look at it, because I'm thinking, this must be personality. A lot of it is personality. Being the third child, it was just always make place for myself. But I'm thinking about my sister, my daughters. Not all of them are strong and can fight their cause like me. How do you actually start to build? How can I start to build capabilities in me that I can be resilient? What could I do? And there are simple habits, which I will show you, so that you can actually start to feel better. Because it doesn't mean that resilient people, that they don't feel pain, because they do. They're just better adapted to moving on. There's a lot of, so Amit Sood has some really great resilient options. If you look him up, and there are a lot of habits that you can start to look into. I've just picked 4 here because I think these are so simple and easy, and you can work with them. Patience. It's a mark of resilience. In patience, it's the art of actually, being a good listener when somebody else is speaking, giving somebody our full attention without interrupting them, without passing judgment, because it makes us more resilient. It makes us better listeners. And patience, that one's hard for me. I'm not a very patient person. Acceptance. Somebody asked me recently if I needed to know what the future would be, and I don't. I'd rather not know, because what challenge would be in tomorrow if I knew everything? So acceptance and embracing the uncertainty, knowing that there will be good coming your way, but also bad, just how to deal with the bad. Being open. Optimism. That one, I'm high on the score. I'm a very optimistic person. I'm always, looking at the positive spin on things, looking at any challenge, what positive could come out of this. And believing, hanging with people that actually support you. Remembering the happy moments. I have a lot of photographs blown up at home. And there were times when my husband and I, I'm a classic woman who, when I just came to Sweden, I'd imagine that my husband has, a little note for me under my pillow. He'd fix me dinner. And of course, I never said any of these things to him. I just thought he was going to do that. And of course, those things never happened. And that would make me really sad. That was the hardest. That felt like a rejection, even though it was pretty stupid because I never communicated anything to him. And I'd stopped talking to him. And he never understood, because I was too embarrassed to tell him that I dreamt or I wished you would do all these things, but you didn't do all these things. And then I devised a plan. I put big pictures of the family, and happy times. I put them all over the place. Because when I was angry with him, I'd look at these pictures, I'd remember the good times, and that helped me to just, get on and be happy. And think of that moment when we were taking the picture, how happy I was. It's silly, but it worked. And gratitude. I think being grateful for things you have in your life, for the small things, it's easy to practice. It helps to get more resilient. Small things like it snowed in Stockholm this morning. And yeah, it was cold, but taking my doggy out for a walk this morning, and to do his job, it was so quick because it was cold and there was snow. I was so happy. I was so happy that, we didn't have to stay out in the snow for too long. We got to run back inside in the warmth. So, it's small things, just being grateful for what we have. There's a lot more, but I think these are the small ones, the easy ones that we can already start to work with to build resilience in ourselves. So, what do I do? What are my top 3 strategies for being resilient? I acknowledge my emotions. I think that, it actually depends on the impact of rejection. Because I think depending on how hard it actually hits you, there's always, you can have a glass of wine and just let it go. If it's harder, I tend to close my computer, just close up everything and allow me to feel sad. If I need a good cry, I need a good cry. But it is allowing myself to feel the pain. I'm not going to pretend that somebody or somebody's, whatever was said to me did not hurt me. I'm not going to pretend because it's going to hit me another day. I allow myself to feel the pain. But I also give myself a time limit. And depending on the intensity of my pain or my hurt, I decide if it's the rest of the day, I'm going to take my time, or I actually, take a day off if it's really hard. Close up everything and be by myself. It always works for me because once I have passed that time in my head, I usually tell myself, that's it. Let's move now, plan B. And that helps me to give perspective because yes, and now we've closed the chapter, so let's move on. So, I refuse to let rejection define me. I mean, just looking at my flight attendant story, I was a kid. And clearly, I'm sharing that with you today because that still hurts. But I went all in. I applied for a flight attendant role and I got it. Because one person said no. Not everybody. That's, doesn't make you a failure. And not everybody is going to say no to you. I usually say, when you're applying for jobs, especially, there will be 90 no's. That's okay. There will be one yes. Go for that. It's part of the process. Keep going because it allows you also to become stronger. It does not the ones that I've been rejected in the past. It makes me stronger. It helps me to build my muscles and push on. And my last, I learn from rejection. Because I think the two and three, refusing to let it define me and learning from it. If I look back, whether I was dumped by my boyfriend, I didn't get the job that I wanted. I look back and I'm more successful today. I'm happy with the way things turned out. When one door closed, the other door was fantastic. So don't fret about it. That's also where I think my optimism kicks in, because it helps me to see, what happened, to try and, for the next time that I'm in a situation like that, how to handle it, but also try not to get myself in a situation like that again. I think there's a lot to learn. I learn a lot. I have learned a lot from all the rejections. So that is what I wanted to share with you. And there we go.
Thank you so much, Vanessa, for such an open and honest personal experience of the resilience that you've gone through. I really appreciate that, and it resonated so well, certainly around having patience, acceptance, optimism and gratitude. Really appreciate it. And if anyone has any questions, we can do a quick Q&A right now. So again, please feel free to interact and engage. Really important. We want to hear from you. But from your side, Vanessa, I guess now more than ever, resilience is absolutely key as well, what with the pandemic and uncertainties. So just on the topic of resilience, I mean, what skills have helped you to also relax and manage stress when it comes to the resilient situations?
I think the optimism, but also, like I said, I mean, I understand that I'm a bit on the, the more pushy side of it. So also, being optimistic, but being bold as well, because I usually tell my employees that if I sat down and waited for things to happen, nothing would happen. So you also got to be in charge of your own life and drive it forward. Take ownership for yourself, because nobody else is going to do that for you. I mean, and people can give you a lot of advice, but at the end of the day, it's for you to pick it up and run.
Yeah, that's it. It's accountability and being proactive and being resilient. And Vanessa, like I said, we can't thank you enough for you sharing your story. It's been absolutely incredible. We are unfortunately running low on time. So I know that Peggy is going to be taking over to introduce our next speaker on how to accelerate your career. But I'm sure if anyone has any questions, that you would be open to hearing from the Vanessa.
Absolutely.
Amazing. Fantastic. Well, we're going to take a quick break and then Peggy will introduce Alina.